So have a great session.
Thanks, Nicole. I guess we can get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you, Jaman, for joining us today. Um, so we have Jaman today to talk to us about the topic strengthening youth's resilience. So please pay attention. If you can turn on your camera, we'd love that. And over to you, Jaman.
Thank you, Zainab. Good evening, everyone. I really appreciate you all being here tonight. It's currently 5:34 on a Thursday evening. You could be doing a lot of different things, so I appreciate your commitment to being a part of this. Of course, I would really love the opportunity to meet with you all in person, but sometimes, one of the things that we've learned is that we have to sometimes, quote unquote, pivot. Right. So tonight, because we're doing a virtual session, there will be times where I will ask you to participate by way of the chat so we can get some engagement that way. I do want this to be interactive. I don't want it to be just the time that I'm talking at you, because I really believe in inviting young people into conversations. I really believe the importance of not having everyone speak at you all the time. I believe in the importance of just making sure that it's a communal space. And so this evening, I'm going to talk about something that's really, really important to me, and something that, through the experiences I've had in my career to this point, I think that we can really bolster as people and look at how we can continuously grow in ourselves. So before we start anything, if everybody can start utilizing the chat right now by putting in the chat, what is on a scale of 1 to 10, how you're feeling currently on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, Joshua, 8 is nice. Thank you for sharing. 4, we have a 4. You and me both, Nicole. 7. Okay, so we're doing everybody so far. We have one that's below 5. I don't want to mispronounce your name, so uh, can you please pronounce your name for me? Tatiana says 6.
It's Kimaya.
Kimaya. Thank you, Kimaya. It's a very unique way of spelling your name. It looks really nice. I like that. Okay, so we're doing decently. I'm hoping that for those of you who are a little bit lower, I'm hoping by the end of this, it's better, and hopefully I don't butcher your evening. I hope it's not that at all, but as I said, I'm really looking forward to this. So we'll get started. Um, who builds your house? That is a picture of a house in progress, not my own. I was trying to find images of my own house in the progress of being built, so I could show you a personal experience. But this was probably the closest version of something that I could find. And as you can see, there's a lot of framing there, right? But it's not complete yet. And that's the primary focus of tonight, that we are constantly in a framing stage, and we're learning the importance of being able to evolve past this stage, but it takes time. And so I'm really looking forward to having that conversation with you tonight and going from there. So just a quick introduction about myself. My name is Jamon. I currently worked with the DDSB, the Durham District School Board, for the last 12 years, 12, 13 years. I'm really fortunate to be in a position with the board where this role was created for me based on my skill set. I didn't have to apply for it. I feel very fortunate and blessed. And since then, I've seen the role grow, and we now have a team. It's not just me that's leading the way. We have a team. I have a great team. I work with some lovely people, and I'm really, really passionate about engaging with youth all across Durham region. A part of my role, I give you a spectrum of kind of things that I support students with. On one spectrum, it might be supporting a student with finding jobs, acquiring employment. It might be helping you to secure your volunteer hours. It might be something along the lines of just working on social, emotional learning and regulation of when you get very elevated. That might be an example. To the far and extreme end, I might work with someone who has lost a parent to gun violence. I might work with someone who is experiencing homelessness. And so it's a very broad spectrum, but I'm really grateful that I'm in the position where I can support young people and serve them in these ways. So I love playing Would You Rather. So we're going to play Would You Rather. When I did this in May, which I'm really grateful for to have to return, we played Would You Rather. All right. So again, we're going to utilize the chat for this, and I'm going to ask that everyone participate. And if you'd like to unmute, by all means, please share what your preference is for each thing. All right. So I'm going to start off with the first one. This is very controversial. All right. Do you prefer curry goat or oxtail? No, you have to pick one. Come on, yeah. I'm seeing you. You have to pick one. Curry goat, Nicole said curry goat. Yeah, defend curry goat, Nicole. Yes, oxtail. Tamaya said oxtail. Multiple exclamation marks. Joshua's an oxtail man as well. Okay. Okay. Wow, oxtail is destroying curry goat right now. And I think I'll say, I have to pick one. I'm a curry goat man. I do enjoy oxtail, but I must say that I'm probably going to choose curry goat just because I eat it more often than oxtail. And as they say, oxtail is very expensive now, so we know this. The curry goat, Bella says. Tatiana, oxtail. Okay, I think this is a fair balance. I like that. Next one, theme park or water park? Theme park or water park? Theme. Water park. Water. That's good. A lot of us are choosing the water park. Theme parks, I know sometimes I ask this question and people say, oh, can we have both? Or, what if the place that I'm going to has both? And sometimes it does. Like, for example, Wonderland, right? Wonderland does have that portion of the park that's designated to water, but it's not necessarily, I wouldn't consider Wonderland a water park. Okay, so water park, excellent. All right, next one. Cake or pie? Cake or pie? Cake. Pie. Joshua, what kind of cake you like? I put the Oreo ice cream cake because that's my favorite cake, so I'm biased. What kind of cake do you like, Joshua? Chocolate, okay. Neither. Tatiana, I know you may not like neither, but can you choose one just for the sake of the game, Tatiana? Please and thank you. Pie, all right. Tamaya said cake. Come on. You have to choose one. Oh, man. All right, next one. Spend a week in a forest or a night in a real haunted house. And by real haunted house, I mean with real duppy, real ghosts and them foolishness. I didn't grow up with that stuff, but that stuff couldn't go on in my house growing up. But which one would you prefer? Forest, please, haunted house. No, Bella. This is a real thing, Bella. So it's absolutely real haunted house. Paranormal activity type of stuff. Zainab, that's hilarious. Forest. I know this one is hard, but I'm choosing the thrill of the haunted house. That's fair. I'm choosing neither. I know it's not an option. I'm not scared of ghosts. Yes, Nicole. Trample on the ghosts. Next one. Another one that's, never-ending debate, Apple or Android. Which do you prefer? It does not matter to me. I personally have, I'm an Apple guy. I have two iPhones, and I stick with Apple simply because it's worked well for me and I haven't had issues. If you're an Android person, then that's perfectly fine as well. Are there any? Oh, so we have, okay. So Nicole's Android, Tamaya Apple, Zainab and Bella. Anyone else? And you can't be a hybrid. So if you use an Android phone, yeah, it does come out here. Absolutely right. It does suck now, from what I've heard. And this is somebody who's had primarily my work phone was an Android. And the consistency, Tatiana, they're consistent. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. All right. Big party or small gathering? This lets me know what kind of personality you have. You like being in, larger spaces with people. Big party, Nicole says big party, small gatherings, okay. Big. Valid, Tamaya, valid. Overall, I would say that I'm a small gathering, but I like intimate spaces and gatherings with my friends. Tomorrow, for example, I'm getting together with a group of friends. There's going to be 8 of us, so I'm really excited about that, but I prefer the intimate gatherings. All right, lose your sight. Would you rather lose your sight or your memories? And I need you to think about this. Memories include all memories, good and bad. Memories. Wow.
To Tina's today, that's fine.
Take both. Oh
Or-
my goodness. Tatiana's hilarious, man. No, you have to pick one. Pick one. Tatiana, come on, pick one. All right, cool. Okay, that's fair. Would you rather be banned from YouTube or TikTok? Which one would you rather be banned from? It is hard. I've heard that this is a harder question. Don't use TikTok, Amaya. Okay. YouTube. I like the honesty, Tamaya, that you're addicted to both. Okay. All right. So I really appreciate you playing playing that with me. It just opens up the opportunity for us to talk, get to know one another a little bit, see how we think. It's really important, and I think it's always more inviting to be in a space where you can feel a little bit more relaxed. So I want to talk about who we are and who you are specifically, right? I think it's a very important question that we are consistently asking ourselves as human beings. Who are you? Right? So if you have a phone or anything that you can document your answers, I'd really appreciate it for this portion of it. I know we're virtual, so if you have a phone on you, that'd be great if you can just document your answers. And certainly in the chat as well. I want you to describe yourself in as many or as few words as you'd like. In many or as few words as you like. And if you documented your answers and you know right away what you're going to say, can you please put it in the chat? That way I can read some of your answers because as I said, I want this to be an engaging experience. In any way that you describe yourself, Bella, in any way. So if I haven't met you face to face, but if I met you in person, Bella, and I said, like, who are you? Tell me about yourself. Give me some of the things that you'd say to yourself, say to me about who you are. I love that, Tamaya. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Zainab. Great, respectful, and truthful. Thank you, Tatiana. I appreciate that. These are great answers. And with that, I want you to start thinking about nice, peaceful, energetic, innovative. Thank you, Bella. Thank you. Innovative. I love that. I really like that. These are great things. I love this. Like, it's so important that you can talk about who you are, what you are. Honest, creative, and dedicated. Love it. Joshua, would you say that you're dedicated to everything you put your mind to, or only certain things? Or there's a specific thing that you're everything. Excellent. I love it. Thank you for sharing, everyone. Now thinking about that, how do you view yourself in the context? Because context matters, right? So how do we view ourselves in the context of individual, family, and our community? How is it that we're seeing each other, seeing ourselves? And by that, I mean, of course, we have different ways that we show up, right? How you are with me right now is very different than how you are with your family. How you are with me right now is very different than maybe you be with your friends. So how are you showing up in those different contexts? Do you feel like you're the same person in all of these contexts, or would you say that you're different? And you can put that in the chat if you have your answer. Or feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like to share verbally. That's okay with me as well. Okay. I love that. Quiet, a listener, funny, and attentive. Okay. Thank you, Tamaya. That makes perfect sense, Bella. Perfect sense. Who feels the most comfortable to be, or what? No, rather, this is a better question. In what group do you feel the most comfortable to be your authentic self, where you don't feel you need to change? Is there anybody? Is it a friend, a sibling, someone that you're related to? Otherwise, where do you feel like you can be your most authentic self? Closest friends? Absolutely. Does it count if it helps to change for the better? That's a great question. Yes, it absolutely counts, Bella. Significant other. Thank you, Tatiana. Kamaya, in your room by yourself. You really value your alone time, Kamaya, and I really appreciate that as well. Because I feel like a lot of young people are not comfortable with themselves now. So it tells me a lot about you, that you truly value that time with yourself, and that's excellent. Thank you for sharing. So these are important. These are really important factors to consider. One thing we want to talk about is that no one said here that you were Black or racialized. I recognize that no one said, yeah, I'm Black right off the jump. And is this something that you identify with? Of course, because that may be how you identify, but it's unnecessary for you to say it. Does anybody feel that way? Thank you, Bella. It's different because some, of course, not everybody has their cameras on. So if I didn't have the opportunity to meet you, and based on what you said, I just think you're really great people. You have really great characteristics. But then getting to see you, obviously, I would identify right off the jump. Okay, this person is a racialized person. This person is Black, right? And so I think that's really important in how we're describing ourselves, because although you may identify as Black, you are Black and you're not just Black, right? And often people will try to define you based on that because that's how you're showing up in the world. Or if you're a racialized person, that's also something that people will define you as, right? How you present is sometimes often what people determine you are to be. And that's kind of the thing that we're going to talk about a little bit as well today. So that's what I talked about. We're not just one thing. There are many different parts of us. And we call that term intersectionality. And some of you are probably familiar with that term, if not all. And there are people that we feel most comfortable with. There are people who we think, okay, we have to change slightly in this environment. So, example, if you have a job, how you are at work may be very different than how you are at church for some people with your youth group or what have you. Or you may be very different on your football or soccer team or basketball team or gymnastics or in any other extracurricular than you are with another group of people, right? You're constantly changing based on your environments. And sometimes that's not a matter of the environment. Sometimes it's a matter of how we feel about ourselves. And I want us to be able to show up as our authentic selves. It's really important. So this activity, this is something that I would like, if you feel very open to doing so, to share this and do it again in the chat, or you can unmute yourself to share. These 3 questions propel me to where I am currently in my life. When I was 20 years old, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was very stuck. I just finished playing football, had some opportunities to play American football, that is, had some opportunities to play in America and through many Canadian universities. And I didn't want that to define me. Jamon was often known, like Jamon is a great athlete, but I didn't see a lot of people pour into me the same way as they did when it came to sports or athletics. I felt that people often poured into me with athletics only and not academically. And I think that's a really huge problem. It's literally the reason why I became an educator. And so I was sitting in my room one day and I was thinking to myself, about the changes that I'd like to see in my life and take some time to myself. And I call it self-inventory. I've had it documented for a very, very long time now. And I'm really grateful for these 3 questions because these 3 questions came to mind. I wrote them down and I filled them out, as many things as possible. What are you passionate about? What can you do effortlessly? You don't have to think about it. What's something that you see, for example, with fish? Fish don't have to think to swim. It's natural to them. It's intrinsic. They know that's what they're to do. And it's effortless. They're not thinking about it. And if money did not exist, what would you want to do every day? I know this is not the last question is not a reality for a lot of people. A lot of people have had to work jobs or are working jobs for a greater purpose. It may not be what you want right now, but it's for a greater purpose. And I want you to think about what that is, right? If money did not exist, what would you want to do every day? So if you're willing, start putting some answers in the chat of what you're passionate about. Yes, Tatiana, I love that. Zainab, yes. Thank you for sharing. You may be passionate about a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be one thing. I love that. Thank you for sharing, Nicole. I love it. Thank you for sharing, Bella. I like your list too. Tamaya, your answer about feeling passionate about social justice, can you elaborate a little bit more about the social justice part? I really love that. I know it's obviously intertwined with law, and you said the arts. I love that as well. What do you mean by social justice? And again, I'm seeing here the different intersectionalities of who you all are. You're not just one thing. I want you all to recognize that you are not just one thing. As a reminder, you are not just one thing. I said I played a lot of sports growing up. I was really active, but I'm also a musician. I've been playing drums for over 30 years. The drum set, I grew up playing drums in church, and that became a really huge passion of mine. A place of retreat, a place of an opportunity for me to really engage and do something that I love that brought so much joy. Yes, absolutely, Tatiana. You can start answering the other questions. Yes, Tamaya, agreed. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. These are really great responses. You all are very introspective. Excellent answers. Thank you. What are some of the things that we do effortlessly? We don't have to think about it. It comes natural. I think one thing for me is connecting with young people. When I started to take these questions seriously and I looked at the things that I did effortlessly, it was connecting with kids, often just being around kids, naturally gravitating towards me, having really open and honest conversations. It became really effortless to where some people were thought, this is such a hard conversation to have, or I don't know how to approach this, Jamon, but you seem to make it work. That came really effortlessly to me to start to look at the different ways that I show up in the world and how I support others. I really love what I do. I love being able to engage in opportunities like this. It's so important to me because I want people to feel seen. As Nicole mentioned, just hearing people's stories. That's really important to me as well because we're all coming from something. And I think that's really important to take time to sit down and listen. Yeah, Zainab, I love that. What kind of things do we do effortlessly? Creative or hands-on, like painting, drawing, doing hair, nails. Tatiana, excellent. Tatiana, do you have your own business? Doing any of those things right now? Hair, nails. A little small one, yes. Go on, keep it going. Keep it going. It's small now, but it could increase to something greater. Tamara, what kind of sports are you interested in? What kind of things do you like? You said you played sports as athletics and as after personality and attitudes, doing nails as well. Are there any sports in particular that you enjoy? Lovely, excellent. Thank you for sharing. That's excellent. That's good. Stay active. Everybody stay active as best as possible, even if it's a small way. Now, let's think about money not being an issue, right? Think about money not being a factor. What would you want to do every day? If you could stop right now, tomorrow you wake up, you start doing that thing currently, what would that thing be for you that you did every day? What would yours be? I can honestly say mine is what I currently do. I would do that. And then secondary, I would go on tour with a musician, playing drums for a musician. I remember that was something I used to do uh, a while back. I didn't tour across countries, but I toured a little bit in Canada, and that was a really great experience. In Ontario, going to different provinces, playing drums. I really enjoyed that, playing for artists. That's something that made me really happy. It brought a lot of joy to my life. Thank you for sharing, Tatiana. That's very vulnerable of you. I really appreciate that. Provide a better job for everyone. Zainab, I've been looking, part of my role, as I said, I've been helping trying to find youths jobs, right? And the job market is so bad. We've been hearing that over and over again. It's really
Yeah.
discouraging for some people. I found a youth a job and she applied 4 job interviews and was unsuccessful for all four.
All four.
All four.
At least the person got an interview. Some people don't even get an interview at all. And they don't
Exactly.
even hear back if they're successful or not. So it's like it's frustrating, yeah.
It is. It's terrible. So what do you expect young people to do? They can't find jobs, right? And they want to work. Or has anybody applied for a job and you may not have a lot of experience and they're asking you, do you have any experience? And you're thinking to them, no, the experience is this. Like I
Yeah.
need the experience. Why won't you hire me? Oh, excellent. Yeah, it's frustrating to my eyes. Like you're looking for a job and you're trying to get the experience and you won't get the experience. It's counterproductive, right? So I definitely hear you on that. It is very hard to find a job. After this, when we're finished, I'm gonna share my email in the chat with everyone. And as I come across jobs, or you can share your email, I'll just document them. I'll start sending you all job postings that I come across, right? Because that's a part of my role as well with the school board. I look for jobs for students and I send them out. So as I come across things, I can definitely send them to you all as well. And you can pick and choose and just look at some different options. And then if you're getting annoyed of the job postings that I'm sending, you can say, Jamon, I don't need this anymore. Thank you very much. And I'll keep it moving. But I'm definitely more than willing to help because I know that it's a struggle. So please, we'll do this at the end. You put your name and your email in the chat. I'll make a list in my phone. And when I'm going to work, work is about to close off for a little bit because we have the break coming up. But I will make sure that, especially in the new year, in between now and December 20th, I'll be pumping out job postings to all of you who are interested in looking for work. We have to support one another. I know that that's a difficult thing. Okay, Tatiana, you may have to show that to me again a little bit later, okay? But thank you. Thank you for sending that to me because I'm going to collect them all at the end for those of you who are interested. So thank you for sharing, okay? And then when we can talk a little bit more about what kinds of things you're looking for in particular right now, whether it's, working in the food industry or what have you. Just want to be able to support you all. It doesn't go just from this talk that we're having. So thank you. So good. I got some good feedback with these questions. I really want all of us to really think about the different aspects of who we are. That is how we're going to continuously grow as people, right? And so these are 3 questions that help frame it for me. Others may have different ways, right? Bella, honestly, whatever comes to mind first, that works for me. And whatever and for anybody, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, you are free to share. If you do not feel comfortable sharing, you can send me a direct message and I'll try to respond to you as well. But anything you feel comfortable sharing with the larger group, by all means. Is your village safe? What do you see with this picture? What do you notice with this picture? How many entry points can you count? Or better question, raise your hand if you think this is safe. Yeah, many entry points. Joshua, you think this is safe? So you live here, Joshua? Because boy, I'm worried now, Joshua, because they're gonna catch you. There's no security whatsoever here, Joshua. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Nowhere, yeah, you're right, come on, nowhere is completely safe. You're right. I love it. Nothing is illegal. That's the best. Nothing is illegal. Tatiana, man. Not the safest, but safe enough. Okay. All right. Well, I count multiple entry points, right? At the top left. So this area right here, this house, trouble, right? Off the bat, I know this house is trouble. Everybody in there is getting catch. Absolute trouble. This house right here, everybody in there getting catch. Trouble. You will not survive. This one, mice, rat, possum, everything in there too, right? This, everybody's trouble. This one, they have a sheet like you're drying something up, trouble, right? This poor lady here, she can barely manage the thing that she's holding, right? It's not a very safe place. This is how we live life sometimes. That the people that we have around us, the environments that we attend or are involved in, they're unsafe, very unsafe. And your village being safe, I'm speaking about your environment, your community. You know, there are many different places where we have people pour into us, and not everybody that has a voice into our lives should. And sometimes we need to be able to say whether or not, actually all the time, we need to be able to determine this is healthy versus this is unhealthy, right? Yeah, Kamai, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. This is a painting that I found, you know. Yeah, that too. This is a painting that I found and I thought it was really well done, but I just saw a completely vulnerable space. But this is still her reality, regardless of whether we think it's safe or not. This is her reality. This is where she feels comforted. This is where she feels protected, or maybe she doesn't. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about. I love this quote. I found this quote. I think it's really important. And some people think they are in community, but they are only in proximity. And proximity, of course, speaks of closeness. True community requires commitment and openness. It is a willingness to extend yourself to, sorry, here, I need to move this out of the picture, to encounter and know the other. So important. There are a lot of people that walk around every single day. They say things like, how are you? And then keep it. I don't understand the principle of saying, hello, how are you? And then you keep walking. Why did you ask me how I am? You didn't even take the time to listen to my response. And a lot of us are guilty of that. Hey, how are you? And then you keep it. That requires a response and you have to be prepared to it. Otherwise, just say hello and keep it moving, right? But to say, hi, how are you? Now you're invoking a response from me that you may not even be prepared to listen to. Put in the chat if you've done that before or something you regularly do. No judgment. No judgment whatsoever. That's something that you do. All right, nobody's put in. That's good. That means we're not really doing that. Appreciate that, Nicole. The question, Tatiana, I'm saying, how many times have you walked, you've seen somebody somewhere and you say, hi, how are you? And then you continue to walk by. You didn't actually wait for their response. Is that something that we do? Because I've absolutely done that, specifically at work. And I don't know why. But I've tried to stop. I tried to limit it. Sometimes, okay, that's fair. Straight, Tatiana. I know, no long talking. Just in and out. I don't blame you. I do not blame you. In and out. That's why I say hello now and I just keep it moving, right? Depending on where I am. I want to talk about some of the influences that we have in our lives. Yeah, Tatiana's very she is funny, man. Give me jokes. What external influences do we believe shape your identity? So, you know, I have examples here of home, school, your community, faith. I want to talk about that question first. What external influences do you believe are shaping us? Family, excellent. Thank you. Friends, anybody have friends? Faith, family, community, social media, excellent. Answer, Nicole, because that is absolutely true. Anybody on social media and you regularly see someone living a life that you know is not actually their life? Trouble, Tatiana, trouble, right? Trouble, killing me, killing me. Exactly. It's like, this is not you. You know it's not them, right? I completely agree with you. You know it's not them. The pretend game is real for a lot of people. What else? What else is shaping us externally? Influences. What do you think shapes your identity? What about the news? What about what we consume? And that could be through the form of social media. What are you consistently consuming over and over again that now you're beginning to believe is real? And we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. Does your identity change based on your environment? It's a good answer. All right, so one thing that was shared earlier was about you might be a little bit more formal around your parents, your caregivers, versus around your friends. Do you still feel like the same person, but how you address them is different? Or do you feel like you are two different people altogether? Because the way I would speak to my friends is certainly not the way that I would have spoken to my mom, right? Absolutely not. Like one thing growing up, especially if you grow up in a West Indian household, excuse me, you weren't answering your families or anybody what. Jamon, what? No, because I wouldn't be talking to you right now. There's no what. You don't answer an adult that way, right? It's yes, mommy. I used to remember saying yes, mommy all the time. So it's really important that we're having those type of conversations about how we address people too. But sometimes that's based on the environments that we're in, where we feel the most comfortable to be our authentic self, as we spoke about. Yes, absolutely, Tatiana. There are many different sides of us. That it's the point. It is. We are showing up differently, and sometimes it's a survival mechanism, right? People might call it code switching. How you talk to your coworkers will be very different than how you talk to your children, how you talk to your friends, right? Because it's a different level of relating. So it's something that we have to consistently think about. But again, the theme is wondering who you're doing it around. And if you are ever changing the way that you're communicating or how you feel, you have to start evaluating your environment. It's really, really important. I want to know what kind of friends you're looking for right off the jump. All right. What characteristics are you looking for in people that are going to belong in that village that you hold? This is incredibly important. There's a saying that you are like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Valid, Tatiana, valid. Can you expand a little bit more on loyal? Yes. No people around us that are not moving forward. I hear a lot of students, a lot of young people tell me, Jamon, loyal. But what does loyal mean? Authentic, good sense of humor, ability to show forgiveness, grace, absolutely. Those are absolutely valid characteristics. Remember, this is your village. It's whatever you determine is important to you. Yes. Thank you, Zainab. I want to share a story of a friend that I've known him for about 20 years. And recently he asked me for something that I never thought he would, because I didn't necessarily see him be vulnerable that way in our relationship. In some aspects, yes, but not in the way that he was. And it took a lot for him to do it. It took a lot for him to do it. And I really appreciated that, because it really reinforced the importance of what our friendship has been to each other, and that he felt safe enough to ask me. And it was really hard for him. And he shared that, Jamon, this is really hard for me to ask this question, but I trust you. So going back to what you're even saying right now, Bella, about having your back, supportive, no secrets, trusting, and reliable, those were some of the things that he was sharing with me. And I really appreciate it, because your village is what you shape. It's up to you. It's up to all of us to shape our village. And I want us to be aware of that. We do have to kick people out who are unsafe to our village. It's not always easy, but it's necessary. When I was 17 years old, one of my friends, we got in a car and he uncovered his hoodie and he showed me a gun and said, Jimon, we're about to go to this house right now and we're going to do a drive-by. This was somebody I considered really close to me, right? And he lied to me to even get me to be in that environment. I thought we were going out. Everybody knows Jamon loves his belly. So he said, Jamon, come, we're gonna go out and get some food, pizza and wings. So I'm there, boy, can't wait for little pizza and wings. I'm really excited. Get in the car, and he's showing me his weapon. Now, this is what you're going to do. So my life could have been in complete jeopardy. I may not have been before you today, may not have returned home to my family because of the village that I kept. So the questions that I asked earlier about asking yourself the three important questions: what are you passionate about? What can you do effortlessly? Money did not exist. That was around the whole perspective of being able to take self-inventory. What is it that you're doing in your life? Where are you? If I had continued with that friend, I would not be here because he's not, because of the life that he chose. But it was hard to do that because we were very close. We just did this. That's the only difference. He chose this path and I chose this path. And it was very hard to be able to have that conversation with him about the safety that I did not feel, the disrespect to put me in a situation like that, and most importantly, the disrespect to put himself in that type of predicament. Only years later to lose his life. So when I talk about the importance of who's around us, it is a matter of life and death. Absolutely. And it may not be as extreme as my situation, but unfortunately, that's not the only circumstance. I have another story just like that. Two more, actually. So I'm very critical of who's in my life and what they're bringing. So everything that I've been reading in the chat of what we are considering to be a part of our life, he was some of those things. I felt he was authentic at times. Great sense of humor. We were always busting jokes and laughing. The forgiveness, the grace. He was supportive when I needed him to be. But there were still parts of the friendship that were not whole. And I really just encourage all of us to really think about what it is going to be in your life, to consistently evaluate what is the cost of who we have in our lives. Once you've built and you've come to an idea and a stature of what you are and who you are, you will be challenged. So in the village that I showed you, that house, when it rains, probably not the most secure. There's probably a lot of flooding, perhaps mold, right? Perhaps they're finding different ways to capture the water, to preserve the structure of their home. But the reality is, based on what's being built, it's inevitable. There will be compromise to the structure. That is something that we have to keep in mind. The house that you're building is who you are internally, right? So if you're building that consistently every single day, it's something you are managing. Just know that there will be attacks. Put in the chat if you've been betrayed by a friend. Just put yes. Tamaya, I'm sorry. Oh, the response. I'm not laughing at the situation, Tamaya. It's your response. I'm sorry about that. Anyone else been betrayed by a friend? Yeah. Now, as a result of, I'm sorry, Nicole. I'm really sorry. It was. I can guarantee and I believe you when you say that. I'm really sorry that happened because it changes us. It changes how we see things. It makes us, people have that saying about quote unquote trust issues. That is real. Raise your hand if it takes you a very long time to build secure trust in another person. Put that in the chat as well. Yeah, thank you, Zainab. Yeah, that's fair. Thank you, Tamara. That's fair. So, Tamara, that tells me that you're discerning who's around you, right? When you're in situations with people, you know off the jump, I don't really want to be around this person too much. You feel it. You can absolutely feel it. It's something to discern. We all have to do that consistently, right? No matter what environments. Sometimes they're even family members. which is hard because even though we might be close to people, blood relation, that there's some people that are just not good for us. And we have to learn to separate that. Yeah, that's true, Kamaya. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I really love the engagement. You all have been really great so far. Thank you. A lot of great feedback. I really appreciate it. I want to talk about our identity a little bit. In the ways that I want to highlight three things that I've noticed are really negative, that compromise who we are as people. And this is again going back to the whole principle of how stable is your home? How stable is the thing that you've built? Because when the storms come, are you able to stand still? Or do you crumble and need to continuously rebuild with the mess that is now left? I want us to think about the three negative factors that I'm going to highlight. The first one, anti-Black racism, right? This is one of the most prevalent things. You are already at a disadvantage because people have their beliefs of who you are. You haven't opened up your mouth. You haven't said anything, but there are stereotypes negative that have deemed your importance, that have claimed who you are before you've even said anything. I met with a family recently whose son was being called monkey at school over and over again by a student who was non-Black, regularly being called a monkey. Nothing was done about the monkey, but something was done when the student finally resulted in a physical altercation, right? To now being suspended. In third grade, why is it that a third grade, around 8 years old, you can communicate what monkey is to a Black student? There's a problem with that. These are messaging that we're receiving, right? I want us to consider how racism has shown up in our lives. It is one of the most significant factors as a Black identified person. And it does affect our mental health. It does affect how we see ourselves. Number one, it affects your self-esteem and, of course, your sense of self. One of the problems with this is that the perception that we might see through media, the perceptions that we might see through the different things that you see. For example, in movies, there's a lot of, Chadwick Boseman, God rest his soul, was really particular in the roles he took. And he said the importance of that was he did not want to be in stereotypical roles, right? So, of course, we know from a lot of movies where he's fighting justice. He is, of course, well known to be in the Black Panther movies. That was really important, or Black Panther, rather. It was really important that he had movies that solidified Black excellence and that helped stories of growth and not just stories of enslavement and hurt and pain, because, again, we're Black and we are more than those things, right? Impact of these systems, though, affect your educational aspirations. Is there anybody here that's been encouraged to take a class that wasn't a university-based class? You may, if you went to school recently, like you've been told to take an applied class because you just wouldn't understand or what have you, or you feel like your guidance counselors may have said that it was better if you take a class that wouldn't necessarily get you on the path that you deem for yourself. Has anybody been in that situation? Because I have. I wasn't encouraged to take the advanced classes. I wasn't encouraged to take academic and university. I was encouraged to take the classes that were below because that's where people thought where I'd be. As people thought my level of intellect and understanding was, right? Those people and those thoughts, I don't have to accept them. I work in education because I didn't see myself represented. I also work in education because I want to serve students and young people in the ways that I wasn't. The lack of job and the lack of Black men I see in education it's alarming. And in the Durham District School Board, it's not a larger board necessarily. It is one of the bigger boards, I guess you can say, in Ontario. behind, of course, TDSB. You have Peel Region Board. You have York Region Board, and then Durham District Board follows shortly after that. There are not a lot of Black men in education. There's a reason for that. Because what are the experiences of a lot of Black males in school? They don't see themselves represented. So the way that I felt like I needed to combat that was to do something where I was pouring back into the community and giving opportunities for Black youth to see that there are Black men working in education. All right. So I want to start thinking about these things critically because these are the things that we have to guard ourselves against in order to grow in the ways that we deem healthy. Your self-esteem and sense of self is always, always being targeted. Put in the chat if you tell yourself affirmations, you speak well to yourself. You may have a list of things that you say, I'm strong, I'm capable, I'm independent. Nothing is too difficult for me. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm a leader, not a follower. Raise your hand if you put that in the chat, if you say anything to that degree to yourself so you feel better about yourself and you constantly have your messaging and how you feel about yourself as positive. Can anybody say that they do those things? Excellent. Thank you, Zainab. Thank you, Joshua. Anybody willing to share one thing in the chat or maybe two of something that you tell yourself regularly? It doesn't have to be every day, but something that you constantly tell yourself that you are beginning to believe or that you currently believe and nobody can shake you. Thank you. I agree. Thank you very much for sharing that. Anyone else? Yes, I like that. Fearfully and wonderfully made. Yes, and Tamaya, absolutely. You're almost there. End of the road. Zainab, I tell myself that one as well. Because my mom often told my brother and I that same one. Fearfully and wonderfully made. Anything else? Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing. Thank you. I want to play a video for you that is talking about the different dynamics that we see. And again, it says widen the screen, but it's really important to look at things from different angles, right? The intersectionality of lives, but also how the media portrays us in different aspects. So I'm gonna try to play it here. Just give me 1 second here. I'm gonna mute myself and play the video. And hopefully it's not too slow.
I actually can't hear. Is it just me?
We have to unmute myself and try it again.
Yeah, it's good.
If you think you know what happens next, ask yourself why.
All right, I'm gonna pause it right there. Tell me what happens next in each of those scenarios. So this lady right here with her children, what's gonna happen to her? Who can tell me?
Do you mind playing from the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. No
That's
problem.
what I was saying. Yeah.
No problem. Okay, I'll do this. Here we go.
If you think you know what happens next, ask yourself why. These are the Black stories we've been shown.
Who can tell me? So you saw, okay, you've seen it, Bella, so don't say anything. If you've seen the video, that's excellent. If you haven't, anybody else who can tell me what's gonna happen next? Yeah. Anybody in particular, Zainab? Is there any specific scenario that you've seen where it's gonna happen? So the guy that was driving in
Maybe.
the car. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry, say what you want to say.
The guy that was driving in the car. Where is he going? What he's gonna do?
You're stuck now.
Yeah.
I was gonna talk about like maybe the person in the convenience store is gonna call like the police, like thinking that the black youths, about to do something to him.
Right. Okay. Tamai says probably to his job. Kamai says he looked like he's dropping some groceries. Okay. Groceries. Cool. Any other thoughts? The lady, she's with her kids, right? It's a black woman. She's currently with child, and then she has two children on her arm. What's gonna happen to her? Who knows the outcome? She being picked up? Is someone going to do something to her, seeing that she's vulnerable on her own? Is there a father involved? I'm about to find out. Bus stop, Kamaya? Okay, bus stop. All right, cool. Let's see.
A narrow view that limits our understanding. But there's so much more to see. The full picture of Black life. Let's widen the screen so we can widen our view.
So that video I found a few years ago when I was doing a program for some students, for some Black youth, and I wanted to highlight stereotypes, and I wanted to highlight what the outcomes are when people see things just without even knowing who you are, knowing what your story is. You know, some of us talked about knowing each other's stories and learning about stories and wanting to see the best in people. You know, when I share that video, often some of the responses are what you say, and then oftentimes it's the opposite. Like, oh, he's gonna do a drug deal. People say that lady and her children that there is no father involved, because these are the things that we're being fed constantly. So these are harmful to our identity, right? As one of the factors, but there are multiple factors to our identity that are being harmed and that are being challenged often. Generational gap. I think this song, Parents Just Don't Understand, might be 88, could be wrong. 88, Will Smith came out with a song about parents not understanding, and it did numbers. It did really well because there are a lot of people who feel this way. Raise your hand if you live in a home, or you can put in that you feel like does the adults don't listen to you or don't really hear what you're saying. And if that's not your experience, that's excellent. But it is the experience for some people where you feel like you can't share certain things because there is a gap. There can be a gap because there's a different time of when people who were older than you were raised. The values sometimes were different. I know in Caribbean and African culture, sometimes mental health was not something that was even talked about or even thought of as something important. It was shut down, as something that's wrong with you, or if you're saying that this is what I'm experiencing, there's no validation or the attention to how you're feeling. Absolutely, Tamaya. I've seen exactly what you're saying in schools with certain staff members. They've done that just to get more information out of people without actually wanting to make a difference or to hear the difference in what's being shared with that student in particular, right? To hear what they're experiencing and how they can be supported. Sometimes just to get more information, right? I think sometimes overall that there's a big hesitation with young people sharing with the older generation because they don't feel that there's a connection there, right? I'm not one of the adults that's practicing this mentality of I can't learn anything from you because you're younger than me. And I see a lot of that. It's a very unhealthy way of living, but it is a big factor to our identity because once we do not have an older generation that is pouring into the younger generation, there's a gap. Like figuratively and literally, there's a gap because what's going to fill that gap now? Voices and different things and people who are not actually interested in building you up. And these are the things we have to think about as it relates to our identity. Academic expectations. Put in the chat if you like school, yes or no. No judgment. I'll start off first in the chat. No. I did not like school. Love that. Zainab. Yes, Zainab, I love that. 3 E's. I love that. Zainab, are you currently in school?
I graduated from university this October.
Excellent. Congratulations. May I ask what program?
Sociology and criminology.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
I'm
it.
looking to go into law school.
Excellent. I wish you all the best.
Get
That's
my
excellent,
PhD.
Zainab.
Amen.
Yes, you shall succeed. Tamaya, you love school. I love that. Tamaya, what grade are you in, if you don't mind sharing? 12th grade, soon done. Yes, you are there. Excellent. Congratulations, Tamaya. It could have been a difficult road, maybe not have, but being in school is not always easy for some people. And you said that you love school. And I love that. That's really encouraging. So I wish you all the very best, Tamaya, in your next chapter of life. Whatever you decide to do, I believe that you'll be successful. I wholeheartedly believe that. Nicole said, I love it now. I used to hate school. Nicole, I think, yeah, I'm at a different place in my life, right? I certainly value school now, like seeing it from a different lens as well. But certainly as a young person, I did not like school because I felt I saw the investment was not in me, it was in what I can produce. That's a problem. I don't invest in what the outcomes of students are. I invest in what they're showing me and what they want, and we can make it work. Anything is doable. Anything is doable. But these particular things are huge. This affects our identity. So the fact that you guys are all saying, a lot of you are saying you love school and there's such a great yearning to learn, I love that. But there have been really large numbers, disproportionate that dropout rates, lower secondary, post-secondary rather enrollment for Black students and Black people in general, right? And I love that I'm seeing so many people in this chat right now say that it's the complete opposite for them. But there is a lot of stress related to school. Even if you do like school, there's a lot of stress with completing assignments. You may be managing different things. And so that's something to keep in mind as well, because taking day by day to manage, maybe you're taking care of a younger sibling, maybe that's your responsibility, maybe it's your responsibility to go to work directly after school. Now you have all these homework. These are some things that can be really daunting on us, but your expectations are met once you decide that you want to act. Completely agree, Kamaya. There's a lot of foolishness in school. I work in the system, but I see a lot of foolishness. I call it out as it is, right? So some things aren't very useful, and it's about engaging youth in a different way. So you actually like school. One thing I love to do in my role is I take kids on different trips. I'm taking kids to see a Black History play in February on Yonge Street downtown, and I'm really excited about that. Myself and two of my colleagues were taking each of our students. We take about 5 to 8 of them, and that's not just it. I want to take kids to do different things. I took some kids downtown last year to learn about a business and how it's run. For those who are interested in running their own business one day, showing them different opportunities out there. I don't think learning only takes place in school. There's certainly a lot for people to take precedence and take hold of outside of the four walls of a school building. And I'm hoping that in your experiences, that maybe some of the staff at your school can find more ways for you to get involved in a positive way, but it's more enjoyable for you, because school shouldn't be boring, although there are some aspects of it, of course, but it shouldn't be boring. Has anybody ever experienced academic stress? Or stress, rather? %. Kamaya, that's your second point, absolutely. Tamaya and Zainab said, 3 tests this week? Oh my goodness, wishing you the very best. Wishing you the very best. That's a lot, man. Academic stress is real. I think I felt stress in one particular time when I was in my second year of university. I was writing a paper, and for some reason, I was doing the paper wrong. Thank you for sharing, Anna. I was doing the paper wrong. I was writing an essay and I was doing it wrong. And I asked my professor the night before just to confirm, because something in me was saying, I don't think you're doing this right, Jamon. I asked my professor. She said, Jamon, you are completely off. And I had to stay up all night to do this paper, so I had it in on time. That was the first and last time I've ever done that, where I know a lot of people I went to school with at the time were doing quote unquote all-nighters, right? 100% to Maya, there is. And I felt really, really tired, of course, but I felt so stressed in that moment. It's real, right? And that's just a moment of time, but people feel this all the time. So what are some of your coping mechanisms? What do you do, Tamaya, differently to cope with any academic stress? Anybody else that's sharing? How do you cope with your academic stress? Do you take breaks? Do you remove yourself from the work for a little bit, then return to it? What are some of the ways that you handle having to deal with these stressful things? I often played music. So I'd get on the drums and play. I'd mess around on the keyboard. That was a way to get my mind off of things for a moment, and then I could return to it. That helped me. Sleep, for sure. I like that. I like that. Taking time not to go to school for a day and catching up. I really like that. That works too, because it continues to come and come and come and come and come. It does get overwhelming. Try to finish work as soon as I get it. Procrastination is a big thing to avoid. Amen, Nicole. Yes, you do, and you will. Believing, what's that? 7, the 7th, that's what, Saturday, right? 7th, yes. You got it, Nicole. I believe in you. Tamaya, thank you for sharing that. As somebody who was a huge procrastinator, I really appreciate that you shared this, Tamaya, because I don't think you're worse than me, that's for sure. But I'm glad you're taking care of your body. And it does affect your physical health, absolutely. When you allow stress in your body to take hold and rest, it does turn into physical stress as well in your body. There's statistics and there's science behind that. So please take care of yourselves, right? This is a part of being a holistic version, and the best version that Tamaya is, the best version of Nicole, Zainab, Anna, Bella, everyone. It's the best version of yourself has to be the fact that you are taking care of yourself first, because nothing matters if you don't matter first. Your healthy relationships, strong village. That's what it means. You have healthy relationships, they're positive, they're uplifting, they challenge you. You need people in your life that challenge you. You don't want anybody in your life that's always telling you what you want to hear. Those are not good friendships. Those are not good relationships to have. Have someone in your life that keeps you accountable, preferably more than one, but certainly one is better than none. Have more than one person in your life keep you accountable to the things that you've either said or to the areas of your life that you have not addressed. Incredibly, incredibly important. Okay. And as I said at the bottom right here, is this something that I live by. We all have our own lives, and you decide who remains in your network. It's up to you. You decide who comes in and who comes out, because it's really important that you are establishing that as a precedence for yourself, right? And there's nothing greater than pouring into yourself. The best version of yourself can now be a healthy member in the community, be a healthy person at home, be a healthy person at work, but it starts with you. And so the resilience that we've been talking about today, all of it is about what you do first. A lot of people are really concerned about what we're doing externally, but have not looked at themselves and recognizing they haven't seen any differences in their outcomes. It's because the most important part is first understanding where you are in life. In reference to where you are moving, to the left or to the right, it's about understanding where you are first and how you show up. And once you can understand those pieces, it's very, very easy to move forward, and easier, I should say. But please remember, these are the things you see these ladies here, there's complete joy on their faces, right? We have to be in situations and spaces where we can X people out if necessary. And with love, it doesn't have to be any animosity, but also make sure that we have people around us that are developing the best parts of who we are. Sense of accomplishment. A lot of you talked about school and loving it, right? When you get a good mark, it's a good feeling. I remember I struggled a lot with math when I was in school, so I didn't get high marks. And every time I got that test back, I used to kind of peek to see what that test looked like. So boy, I didn't do well at all, and it wasn't encouraging at all. But I remember one of the units I did really well in was fractions, because I learned the way that my mom was taught how to do fractions. And that was a unit that I felt I could even share with other people. That sense of accomplishment of Jamon is now teaching where he struggled a lot made me feel really good about myself academically, but also mentally. I wasn't going into school feeling this is a period of time that I'm dreading because I don't show up as my best version. So I think that's really important to consider as well. Recognize all of your achievements, whether they're in school or otherwise. It's really important to say to yourself that you did this. You have a goal and you made it. You got it. You've acquired it. And it takes time. It's not going to be easy all the time, but it's something to recognize that you have the ability to do it. Community, especially as those are identifying as Black, you need people who understand you and what your experiences are. Incredibly important, right? They validate your voice. They help you to show up as your authentic self and help you to feel unashamed by doing so. But your feeling connected to others is directly tied to mental health. I began my career working for an organization called the Center of Addiction and Mental Health, which is downtown Toronto. And I dealt with mental health on a very heavy basis quite often. And that was something that I think about so many people were battling every single day. And my job was to come in through recreational therapy. I help people through music, helping clients play music, helping them to feel connected, and seeing how that often was a cure, if you will, to some of the things that they were experiencing on a day-to-day basis. So although they were clients, they begin to feel like family, especially because at the time, some of the people that I worked with were so much older than me, but I felt a sense of connectedness being around them and being able to support them. Your mental health is directly tied to that. If you are feeling bogged down all the time, I challenge you to look around you. What's happening? Sometimes it's situational, what we're experiencing in our lives personally, but a lot of times it's what we're experiencing relationally. Then I want us to be more critical of that. My apologies, I just went backwards. So this is my call to action. Affirm yourself. A lot of you said you affirm yourselves. Talk to yourself every single day. It might sound corny, but when you wake up, tell yourself something positive. I'm going to do this today. My daily affirmation is something good is going to happen today. I say that every morning to myself, regardless of whether or not it's something good does happen, because there's times in my day something good doesn't happen. I experienced something 2 weeks ago where it wasn't positive, but I woke up that morning same way and said, something good is going to happen today. That is the mentality that I carry every single day. And it's shaping my mind, because what you hear is something that you are going to now act and action. We are a direct product of what we've heard. We are a direct product of things that we've believed to be true, even if they're not. And that's so important that you're telling yourself certain messages, because the more that you do it, the more that you can affirm yourself and tell yourself things that are going to build you up, tell yourself things that are going to have value and meaning. And then lastly, build a safe village, safe and a healthy village. Remember all your access points. Who has access to you? Why do they have access to you? How have they bettered you? Everyone in your life right now, you should be able to say that there's value to that person in your life, not for gain. So if you have somebody in your life that you're close to because you gain something from it in the sense of materially, like, oh, if I get this person, me and this person are friends, I'm going to get lunch every day. Or if this person and I are friends, I know that I'm going to be able to go to this venue or what have you. Everything should be a lot greater than just the things that you can get from your relationships. It's how they develop you internally, holistically, showing up as yourself, the most authentic version of yourself. Incredibly important. And so that's why I want to leave you off today with the most important thing that I want you to take away is that you are nothing unless you decide that you are something. It really begins in your mind. And most importantly, I believe in all of you. I don't know you. I've had a great time connecting and learning from you and seeing how you think and some of the different perspectives that we shared. But I believe in all of you. And I want you to believe in yourself, because how I feel about you can't be greater than how you feel about yourself. A really critical message that I've heard recently from Viola Davis, who's an actress, and a lot of you may be familiar with her. But she said, make sure that you are the love of your life. And I really, really love that sentiment, because it's a decision to continuously pour into yourself. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop between now, however old you are, to the day you die. That investment in yourself will better everything else around you. And so those are some of the things that I wanted to highlight today and be able to share with you. I really appreciate your time. I am 3 minutes before the time. I think it was a 5:30 to 7 session. And I wanted to be able to just express some thoughts. I hope that this is not the last that we'll communicate. I do need your emails. So before I leave, please put your emails in the chat. If you are interested in looking for some work, I'm going to make sure I document your emails here and make sure that I can support you in that way, if possible, because I would love to do that. Let me just come out to this now.
Thank you so much, Jaman. Honestly, I feel like this is the most that I've seen everyone participate in the interactive. So thank you so much. That was really great. You know how much I enjoyed your workshops. So thank you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for joining. I think Tatiana also dropped her email the last time. I'm not sure if she's here anymore, but I can help her to like copy and paste.
Yes,
Okay.
please. So I have one
We
here.
did talk a lot today. I can't find the email again.
You can probably scroll up. Come get Kamaya's email too.
Wow. Okay. Oh, there we go.
Does anybody here go to J. Clark Richardson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming to J. Clark in February. I'm doing a program there for Black students, so I hope to see you.
Sadly, I'm not Black, but I can still check it out.
Yeah. Are you a racialized person?
I'm Portuguese.
Portuguese? Okay. So yeah, you are. So you might be hearing about it in your school. So if you feel that
Maybe.
you want to participate in it, then you can sign up when those registration forms go out.
Thanks, Ramon. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. This was an amazing workshop. And please, we have a virtual ceremony showcase next week. And we have a guest speaker as well, Kalina, and it's gonna be really amazing. So please make sure that you join. I'm gonna put the a link in the chat right now. So in order for you to join, please register with the link. And when you register with the link, you get a gift card.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yes, you get a gift card, but in order for you to get the gift card, you need to register. So we have your email address and all of that good stuff. So please register with the link. I'll just make sure we do the registration before we leave the Zoom, because once you end the Zoom, then you don't have the link anymore.
Thank you. Just want to make sure I have all the emails before you close it.
Yes,
I
sure.
want to make sure and they're the correct ones. Okay. Obaseki. Okay, got that one. I have Kamayas.
Please let me know. Can you put it in the chat if you've registered so I can know if those are registered? I'll also send a follow-up email like once we're done here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, I believe I have, hold on, one more minute.
Sure, take your time.
All right, lovely. Thank you, Nicole. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you all. I'm really grateful. Like I said, it's the evening time and you all came and you participated. Like it wasn't dry. You know, that's sometimes virtual things is it's hard, right?
Yeah.
I love the in-person engagement. We would have played some more games if we were in person, but you came anyways. I'm really glad you were here. I'm gonna put my email now in the chat, so you all can email me for anybody that's still here. Just hold on, make sure this is to everybody. Let me know if you could see that.
Yes.
Okay, lovely. So anybody to send me an email. If you'd like, we can stay in touch. I can help you find jobs or what have you. I do have your emails here. So that's good. And I'm really grateful for this time today, Zainab. Thank you for all the communication.
Thank you so much. No problem.
Nicole, thank you very much. I saw your email, Nicole. I will respond to it when I get to work tomorrow and we can definitely stay in touch. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye. Have a good night, guys. Please don't forget to sign up. I'm gonna send a follow-up email now. Okay, everyone left. Okay. Bye.